All right, this is No Excuses with Michael DiLeonardo. I'm your host, RJ Roger. Michael, I think I have your name down pat now. I think I say it right now, don't I?
The
Or is it-
Leonardo.
So I'm still off?
Say Leonardo.
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 Okay. I'm
Say,
not going to
Le-
ever.
say Leonardo. No,
Le-
Leonardo is fine.
DiLeonardo.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That's all. I think I got it then.
Yeah, you're right there. You got
Okay.
your fighting red shirt on today. I never seen you in red.
My favorite color is red. Everything I have is red.
Yeah?
Your favorite color is blue. My favorite color is red.
Yeah, but never seen you in red. It's the first time.
Oh man, I got a lot of red. I wore a red sports coat with you.
Yeah, you did. It was more burgundy, though.
No,
More red? Yeah?
definitely. No, I have a burgundy sports coat,
You
but
should.
I have a red one like this color.
Yes, you did. Right, we have a picture together.
I will show my kitchen to everybody. Every appliance I have is red. Everything. Every single appliance is red. All the trimming is red. My deck is red. My shed is red. All the trim in the house is red. My carpets are red. My curtains are red everywhere.
Are you projecting rage?
No, I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just
Red,
I always like
red in
red.
psychology is an aggressive color. You know that, right? It's the most aggressive color in psychology.
But I'm a love guy. It could be that for me.
So you rage when you're making love? Is that what you say?
No, but red's like, love color, isn't
Aggressive.
it?
Aggressive.
Okay. Could be.
Look it up.
I didn't know that. I'm gonna look that up though.
Fact check me. Hey, by the way, a friend of mine gave me this Sicilian
Wow.
emblem. Everybody can see it.
I know who he is. He's a good man too.
Yes, I want to give him a shout out. I won't say his
Wow.
name because he didn't tell me to say his name, but it was a
Yeah.
pretty nice gift.
That is nice. Yeah, very nice of him. I saw you wearing it. I didn't even pick up on it. You don't read no books and mob history books at all. You told me that.
Never.
Fortunately, I do. Shadow of My Father, John Jr.'s book. Now, I said
I
this.
skimmed through it. Like I said, I skimmed through to look for my name all the time. Whenever something comes out, I heard my name. I look for my name to see if everything is accurate or how I'm being depicted.
Now, I heard John Jr. say on an interview somewhere, I want to say 60 Minutes, that he wanted to pursue a literary career. He thought about it. He wanted to write a children's book, but they couldn't get a publisher because all they wanted was the salacious stuff. They didn't want to, and I guess he enjoyed writing. Now, I don't know if he penned his own book, but if he wrote this book, the guy's a good writer. So I want to find out if he actually wrote the book himself, because if he is, he's a good writer. He's very intelligent. But some things inside of it. Go ahead.
What's the guy's name who did the forward?
Get
his name.
Huh. There is a forward, but
Peter Lance.
Forwarded by Peter Lance.
Hey, I say even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Wow. Oh, good one. How'd you know that?
I don't know. It was a mistake.
So he might. I don't know if he
might
wrote
help.
the book.
I'm not sure. I don't want to take anything away from him or anybody else that does. That wouldn't be nice if he wrote it himself.
Yeah.
But he's a smart guy, so I could see him having a lot of influence in it. Sure.
Yeah. But there was some interesting things in here that it's just a few I want to ask you. Let's get your opinion on. All right. So I'm just going to, and this made me think about more of a broader subject. So I'm going to read you a quote, and you can respond however that you would like. So in the chapter 5 of the book, he's talking about drugs. And he says, we didn't like drugs in our neighborhoods, John Jr. Now, it reminded, so you and I were talking recently that this scarlet letter in the mob, like it doesn't, the biggest drug dealer in the mob will say, me? I I've never sold drugs, not ever in my life. As a longtime researcher of the mob, I can't find any time period in the history of this country, from the time that the mob was founded in this country until all the way up until probably at least into the 90s. I can't verify now because there's been no bust in a while. So can I ask you, I would say without a doubt that the mob has always been involved in drug dealing in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Never, ever not.
Mm-hmm.
But why is drugs the worst thing that no one wants that tag on them? They'll say I killed people, I extorted businesses, I did. They will admit to everything, but they don't want to admit to being involved in drugs. They don't want to say I ever touched drugs. Nobody. That is like the worst thing that you can do. It seems like for them.
I think it's. Does anybody want to be known for bringing poison into their neighborhoods? Does anybody want to be known for having their neighbors' kids be hooked on drugs or die from drugs? The thing is, it's a black mark on you. I think murder is more accepted because they murder their own, right? That's the theory. That's the thinking of others. Even law enforcement, they only killed their own. But when you steal drugs and you get somebody's kids OD'd and died or junkies, you're owning that. If you're the guy on the corner that everybody's supposed to look up to you and you're poisoning their families, I think that's the deflection that all people in that life don't want to have on them, that they deflect that. I didn't deal drugs because, again, I didn't make no poll. You just sprung this on me. I know you said it the other day, gave me food for thought. That's the only thing. I wasn't in the drug business. So, and I know just about everybody who was, there was maybe 10 to 15%, I'm going to say that I could say weren't. And there was people that I thought there weren't that were. Later on, I found out, as time burnt on in my life there, I started learning about guys that were guys I looked up to. And I found that they were in the drug business at one time or another. But I think that's the picture they wanted to paint is not me. I didn't poison your kids. It wasn't me. Later on, a lot of wise guys, the younger guys that got straightened out, I would say my age, I'd say younger guys because I'm dating myself. I'm going to be 68. But you take 30, 40 years ago, when I was in the street in the 80s and the 90s, there was a lot of younger guys dealing drugs that were wise guys. They had drug spots all over the place. Or they were taking money from drug dealers and giving them permission. That other wise guys with their on the corner drug dealers, they wouldn't bother each other. So there was those back room, all right, this is my area, that's my corner, that's my spot. And wise guys would sit down and say, yeah, that guy's with me. And they would set all these beefs. It became a little bit more open. If years ago, when guys like Carlo around, Carl Gambino and those guys, even though they were in the drug business on a massive scale, bringing drugs in, if you did that in the corner, you probably wound up in a trunk because you didn't deal that poison in your neighborhood. Just like they said in The Godfather, what they say, oh, yeah, okay, but leave it in a dark area, right? They're animals anyway. That's the mentality. So they don't want to, I guess the mentality was, look at the way they picked up on it then, right, in that movie. So I guess that, just thinking about it, think about it, that movie, somebody who did that says, yeah, we don't want it in our neighborhoods because it looks bad. We don't want to hurt our own. So give it to everybody else. So I guess that was the deflection. We'll go into business, but as long as we don't affect our own people, we don't hurt our own kids. But it's a curse. How many guys in the drug business, their kids wind up being junkies, drug addicts? So, yeah, I think that is the answer. I can't answer for somebody. I never really asked somebody why they would say that the one in the drug business. The only thing I can think of, it's an embarrassment.
Yeah.
Does that help with the?
Yeah. I'm just always curious because I mean, you hear guys will brag about how many people they killed or brag about certain. I say, but then when they talk about that, it's like it's something. It's just something about that they just no one can accept that. It seems like, and they will fight it again. Joe Bonanno sat with Mike Wallace live on air, and he looked like. I mean, his underboss was the biggest drug dealer in the country. And he swore on, he said, before God, he said, he got so, before, I swear it, before God, I had no idea he was, he had to know. Would you agree he had to know? No way around it.
Oh my God, of course.
Yeah.
No, yeah. They all did it. They all on the top knew. And they took money a different way, if that's the case. Like I said, Carl's brother was one of the biggest junk dealers. They were involved. They didn't stand on the corner and deal drugs. They didn't go out and take a package and give it to somebody. It was their network. They had other people under them. Don't forget, that network was worldwide. It still is worldwide. We don't grow it here. It comes from somewhere. You know, Canada was probably still huge coming in through Canada. However they're doing. Look at Mexico. You don't even need anything. They just drive it across. Or get a guys with a couple of bucks. You know? Chinese are putting all if we go back to the Chinese, they're putting all that fentanyl that could kill everybody in the country 5 times each. But who's doing it? You know? No, but the Italians and mafia, going back to what you said, since the beginning of this country, opium, like I said a couple of times, that opium dens years ago. You know, a lot of guys got high. I don't know how many captains I can name in different families. In our family, we get whacked out on coke in the 80s, giving it to girls and playing around all night long. It's a joke. Is that the other day, I don't know if you've seen it. I think there was either 16 or 20 migrants were found dead in the truck on the U.S. side. It's despicable. So if they're getting people across in trucks like that, drugs are still coming.
Next question. John Jr., my father had deeply entrenched loyalists in the family. If a move were made by Jimmy Brown to seize control, these individuals had been instructed to react accordingly. So you were there at the time. So I'm just wondering, hey, what's your thoughts on, was there fear of Jimmy Brown usurping John when John went away? Did Jimmy Brown have that type of power that he could have maybe took over the family? And from how Jr. writes it, my father had deeply entrenched loyalists in the family. And if a move were made by Jimmy to try to seize control, these individuals have been instructed. They've been instructed to act. Thoughts?
Jimmy Brown, I know since a kid. And I went into this earlier about Jimmy Brown getting mad at me because of my relationship with John. And John sending me to the club and not telling Jimmy that John was going to show up. And some of the other beefs I had with Jimmy Brown, which I did. I wound up with Noel Mordecai. We took him from Jimmy. He wasn't a wise guy, but his father was. And he was with Jimmy. And I wound up with the father later on, too. I took the father in my crew. So Jimmy really didn't like me. So his relationship with John was super suspect of him. Yeah, John really didn't trust Jimmy because he was old-time Sicilian. He knows the fabric he came from. He knows the loyalty he had with Sicilians, Paul and Carl. You know, he was Jimmy's, Carl's driver, Jimmy was for a long time. And Jimmy was sitting back. You know, the whole thing on Jimmy Brown, I could get into the whole matter there, my opinion of what was going on with Jimmy Brown. John, did he have anything in reserve? Like if anything did happen? Now, Junior's not saying if Jimmy was in the street, John was in the street, or when John was away.
No, John was away. He's saying
when he was away.
Yeah, well, that's how it would have had to been because my father had deeply entrenched loyalists in the family. If a move were made by Jimmy Brown to seize control, these individuals have been instructed to act accordingly. He's talking about the 93-94 time period when the panel, he says the two constants on the panel up until 93 and 94 were Jimmy Brown and Joe Arcuri. Several captains assisted them and also engaged in watching them. Arcuri was a by-the-book guy put there to counterbalance Jimmy Brown in case Brown thought his current position was other than temporary.
Well, look, you can't usurp the administration without having a strike. And what I mean by strike is you have to kill a couple of guys. They were killing guys. Jimmy Brown had to sit back with, hypothetically, or what they say, Danny Marino, right? So if he's talking to that time period, I don't know who the individuals would be. I know just before John got pinched, Jackie came to me and he says, John's making a new fist. And I was in on the fist. And we were supposed to have a meeting of the fist. Jackie told me we're going to get together soon. And John's going to put the fist together. And it never happened. He got arrested. So it was Jackie Giordano, Joe Watts, myself, Jackie, Junior. I got to think about who the other guys were. I could get into that a little bit more. I got to think about it. There was about 12 guys that went on the fist. I don't know all of them, but from what I remember, it was some of John's guys, Don Pizzonia, Tommy Sneakers, a few other guys that went in on the fist. So, and again, this is prior to John getting arrested. Sammy was not in the fist, by the way, which caught me by surprise. Jackie did not mention his name. He should have been one of the first names he mentioned. Sammy was not in on it. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
I was going to say that for another show, but since you jumped on that, I happen to agree with Junior because of the fist that John laid out. He might have had some talks with some guys before he went away, that he had some guys insulated. But most of those guys, again, were arrested down the road. So I don't know how strong it would have been, his ability to strike back. Because Junior would have went right away. Junior would have got clipped in a minute if they did that. And again, there was something where LUCCHESE guys were trying to get to Greg DePalma. You're making me go into the whole thing here. Some of the LUCCHESE guys were getting friendly with Greg DePalma to find out Junior's routine a little bit. Because Greg DePalma had a big mouth.
I heard before about that, Jimmy had a great relationship with the West Side.
Oh, big time.
And that could have been the power that could have helped him if he wanted to make a move.
It was the move, not wanted to. It was in play. We lost 3 guys. You lost Frankie the Chico, Eddie Leno, and you lost Bobby Borriello.
Well, I mean,
the move was in play.
I mean, if Jimmy Brown wanted to go for the family, he could have got them.
He was going through proxy.
So you're saying he was going? Are you saying Jimmy Brown was going for the family?
Oh yeah. No, absolutely. I believe that wholeheartely. They said there's a couple of little things that I'll air out another time.
That's a statement you're making here. That's a statement of you're making. You're saying, 100%. If I'm clear here, that Jimmy Brown was trying to make a move for power.
He was told, I believe, my opinion was.
Yeah, your opinion.
Sit back. Let things unfold. Don't worry about it. We're going to take care of these guys. That's my opinion. We lost 3 guys.
Wow.
There would have been more. If Gas Pipe don't get arrested, who knows who goes? Again, I got little things that Junior, I'm surprised he didn't put it in the book. Maybe he did. I didn't read it. There were some little things that Jimmy Brown and Junior try to set Junior up with to make him look bad. Once Junior sees this, he'll know I'll knock the rust off of him a little bit.
Wow. Okay. Maybe Junior was thinking something because he wrote a little further down. I never followed a routine. Never drove home the same route. Sometimes I had a driver, sometimes I didn't. Drove different cars. But anyway,
He told the MPV.
I know you told me.
He told me, what are you doing with that 500 SL? I drive an MPV. I said, you're still going to jail. Don't worry about it. I'm going to park my Mercedes outside. I'll look from MCC's window, MDC's window, and look at it. But we could really get into that. That's a whole thing. That's a whole show, Bo.
About Jimmy Brown.
Yeah, the whole plot. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to make a note of that here so we don't forget.
Jimmy Brown's old fox.
Wow, that's interesting now. Okay. Now, let me just ask one last question. Why not just kill him if you're that worried? Too powerful?
Maybe what happened? Maybe John stays in the street. Maybe it does happen.
No, I mean I'm saying John's in the can. He's worried about Jimmy trying to do something. Why not just order?
Yeah, well, look, it leads to a further question. You think they didn't know it was Chin that was behind the murders? Got to be kidding me if anybody thinks otherwise. I didn't know it at the time because I didn't have the information. At that point, what they would with Sammy, John, and Frankie Loke only knew. Now again, Bobby Manna was going to see the family got caught on tape saying they're going to kill Jeannie and John. I mean, what else do you need to put together when you got bodies falling? And I told you, I posed this question. The first question I asked Gravano, besides how are you, what's going on, about the street was, Sam, I've been dying to ask you, why don't you sig us on? Why don't you let us go against Chin? Why didn't you tell us what's going on? You left us out here. John left his son out here. Why didn't you tell us to protect ourselves where it was coming from? It was a burning question I had. He had no answer for me. See all this stuff he says now, he was going to jump through windows. You got to send me that video. I got to see that video. I got to know for myself what I'm talking about. Because I still can't believe he said that. He's going to jump through a window and kill Chin. Is that true? What he said?
There was a video. I'll send to you tonight. Something he said about, he was like, I think like holding a machine gun. He was going to go.
Yeah, I really like to see it because it's stunning. Yeah. Because there was nothing ever said to help us out. Nobody gave us a tip where it's coming from. I was with Junior every day. Every day. Twice a day sometimes. All night, next day. So, I didn't get no tip. He didn't get no tip where this is coming from.
You lead right into a good question. John Jr. It is a popular delusion that the Chico's car was blown up because the bombers thought my father was riding with him. Not true. He goes on, talks about Frankie Bellino and some other stuff, but I have heard that many times, that they were trying to kill John, and it was a mistake killing DeCicco. You were there. That's when you win the family. Give me your thoughts on that.
Well, Junior's saying they didn't want to kill his father. They did not want to kill his father.
Yeah, he's saying that. Yeah, he's saying that he doesn't believe that there was a mistaken identity, essentially, where they were trying to kill his dad. And that's what he says. It's a popular delusion that the Chico's car was blown up because the bombers thought my father was riding with him.
Well, he wouldn't know. He wouldn't know that answer. Nobody knows that answer. That's a guess. But a guy dressed up, that same height as John, probably went to that car. So I'm sure they seen. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm sure they seen John and Frankie get in the car because they didn't just show up that Sunday and just put a bomb under the car. They did homework. They sat on the club before. You don't just show up and put a bomb under a car. They had been sitting on that club for a while and see when John's routine was. So maybe the guy, he was with the West Side, a munitions expert, this guy. Maybe he thought that it was for John. And, they got one. So they didn't get two, but they got one. Either way, it worked. But, I'm not going to contradict him. That's his opinion.
Yeah,
But
no, I'm
my
just wondering what
opinion
you're
is
talking.
no. My opinion is no. They wanted to get the two of them. John was the target. John was the major target.
Okay.
Who's a bigger target than John? He was the boss. You got the boss and the underboss. You want to take both of them if you can.
Yeah, now that's a good point. Now,
I don't want to interrupt you. I just want to get my thought.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Does Junior really feel that the commissioner is going to let his father live and kill everybody else? Don't forget, they killed Frankie the Chico. They killed Lino, who was a skipper, who was on the hit, and Bobby Borriello, who was Junior's acting captain when they were both in jail, when everybody was in jail, before Sammy flipped. And they were going to continue. So I don't get the premise that they won't want to kill John. That's the first guy you want to kill. He's the instigator. He's the leader. You want to put everything in disarray, you kill the boss. You kill the top guy. So, but he's entitled to his opinion. Maybe he could expand on it. Maybe one day he'll tell you. He'll tell us what he was.
I'm not discrediting his position. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are that because that's out there. I've heard that so many times. That they were trying to kill John, they just fucked up and they killed DeCicco. I've heard that so many times.
No, they want to get both of them. Of course, they Frankie's car. They know again. The guy didn't just say, "Hey, where's Frankie the Chico's car?" They knew what his car was. The guy did homework on him. They just didn't throw a bomb on anybody's car.
Yeah.
So, and John was there on Sundays. Just that this Sunday he did not show up.
Yeah.
Which was strange because the FBI wasn't there, which was aren't there every Sunday. They were missing. The state wasn't there with surveillance either. And John didn't show up. It was like, what the hell happened there? How'd this happen? Yeah. Strange the agents weren't there. Imagine if the agents were outside when this happened.
Yeah.
They took some shot. The guy put that bomb under the car, took some shot because there was FBI there. Kenny McCabe was there. He worked for the state at the time. He was an investigator, top investigator, knew everybody. Probably would have been parked on that side.
Biggest question, one of the top questions I always have for the whole Gotti era. Junior says, it was DeCicco who set up the Spark Steakhouse meeting in December 1985 with Paul Castellano. It takes more than one party to make a plot. Frank the Chico had everything to gain and everything to lose. I mean, everything to gain by Paul being alive, everything to gain by Paul everything to lose by Paul being killed.
Right.
He was super respected by Paul. Again, he set the goddamn meeting up. So that means he had to be trusted, very trusted. Right. If Paul went down in the commission case, would DeCicco been considered to be acting boss possibly?
I think there's a Jimmy Brown factor there.
Okay.
So, Frankie had a spot in administration where there had been an acting panel that was put up. Frankie had super upward mobility, as John would say. He's deeply trusted, entrusted. And he would have found his way in the administration sooner or later. Absolutely. He had everything to lose.
That's the one thing I'll always wonder. Why he made that move, especially not even to be the boss. He yielded to John. Now, if you're taking over the family, then okay, but you're going to yield and become underboss. You're going to take out a guy who this is the top guy of the commission, probably one of the most powerful bosses in the country. You have his ear. You leave Paul in. You probably have sway with Paul to say, "Hey, lean off of Gotti. Let's we'll see what happens with Angelo. You probably got some sway because Neil's gone at this point. So Paul needs the Chico now as a working crew. You don't got Neil no more.
Right.
Every way I rationalize it in my mind seems like it would be better for the Chico to pull Gotti off the ledge and say, not the right time for this. My question is this: why? Why did DeCicco do this? Why did he do this? That's my question.
And you should have been advising Frank. about that. Let's just wait. Don't forget. Let's set up a scenario here. Joe Gallo, I believe, had a case. I think Piney even had a case, right? Or was going to catch a case. The case with Angelo is already there with all those guys, right? Roy DeMeo, Nino Gadget's in bed, looking bad with Paul. He's not in good favor with Paul anymore. Paul takes him down as a captain. Roy DeMeo's dead. The crew's broken up. They give it to LUCCHESE guys. Paul's whole circle melted around him. The only one standing really is Tommy Biglotti's crew and Frankie. So you're 100% correct. And everybody out there is going to ask the same question after I finish this. Paul was an island. He's standing on an island. What happens if Paul gets convicted, which he is, with the rest of the commission guys? And if not, in the car case, he's going down. And he's finished. Frankie's the prince in waiting. Now, Tommy Biglotti's the underboss, right? In time, like you said, John, let's just wait till all the cases finish. Let's sit back. Let's wait for all the cases. We'll know, like what John say, who's going to kill me? Me? That's what he told me. Mm-hmm. So he had the inside track on everything. So why strike? That's the thing. There was nothing there that Paul was going to strike on anything. Paul didn't even want to go to Neil's wake because he didn't want to create news.
Now, Sammy put it in his book that there was rumors going around that Paul was going to bust down the crew and whack and drop Gotti down to be a soldier. I don't know if it's true, but did you ever hear any rumors like that? That Paul was going to do something like that?
No, not be after the fact. I forget about then. I'm going to talk about after the fact when I was in the know. No, never heard that. I'm going to say when I knew, right? When I got straightened out because I wasn't made at that time. I wasn't in that circle. Doesn't mean I couldn't have heard things, but I did not at then. And more importantly, I did not after that when I was in the know. I never heard that. But again, you take your whatever medicine Paul was going to deal out. If it was to break up the crew, which I doubt if he was going to do it, Neil's still alive. Neil dies in December. Paul's on trial. I mean, these guys are going down. Paul ain't going to create that kind of noise. Why? And if he does, if he takes John from being a skipper, right? What does it mean for the next couple of months?
Good point. Great point. Great point.
What does it mean? So what? You know what you got. You know what you have. You got everybody on your side. Paul's on an island. That's all he really has is Tommy Bigliotti because Frankie's the spy in the camp.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Piney's on his side. Neil's gone, right? Joe Gallo knows about the plot already. It's on tape saying that Joe Gallo was part of the when they were talking about killing Paul. He was at the meeting with Neil. It's on tape. What Sammy alludes to that when he's talking to John. Remember that meeting? Frankie, me, you, Joe. So Paul was an island. So why kill him? That's why would Frankie do that? He should have been able to take John down. He really should have. Yeah, I mean, you know what? It cost him his life and the lives of a lot of other people. No, but think about this. We talk about Junior saying that his thinking is they didn't want to kill his father. They're on tape. I'll say it again. Bobby Manners on tape saying they killed John and Jeannie. Not even just John, Jeannie too. So how does he come to that decision that they weren't going to kill his father? Maybe he means just that specific day. I don't know.
Yes. He's talking about that day.
In the whole outlook, they're on tape when John's in the street. The FBI went to the house and told him about the tape.
Yeah.
So they had all this information. The Jimmy Brown fact and all of that. Sure, when you make a plot, you have to have people put in place. And that's always the case. Who's going to be the boss? Who's going to? They're playing on the outside, all the rules, and these guys are sitting back like this. Whistle, I could picture them right now standing on the sidewalk, looking across. When I looked out, I seen all the guys on there. 50 guys looking at Frankie burning the car. So Jimmy was right on the sidewalk, right on the front. Never crossed the street. Guy he knew since a kid. Didn't care. Pure Cosa Nostra. You kill the boss, this is what you get.
Yeah.
Strictly business. You kill the Sicilian boss, this is what you get.
And he's not like, I mean, this guy comes out of lineage, big stock, a lot of people, a lot of DeCicco's, big name, well schooled in the life, close with Paulie Zach, knew a lot of people. He's trained in the life. You know, he understands how, like, I'll never understand that decision. Never. Yeah, I'll never understand.
Well, and he had the power to sit down with John and talk John down.
Yeah.
I don't mean physical power. I mean the brain power, their relationship to do this. Frankie couldn't have hated Paul that much. I can't believe that Frankie hated Paul that much because there was nothing that Paul made him a skipper. He had an argument with Nino right in front of Paul. Bad argument with Nino. Frankie didn't get reprimanded. So I don't get it.
He didn't just have the power to talk John down. He had the power to talk Paul down if Paul was thinking. That's why I'm saying he had the power on both ends of this problem.
Both ends. Yeah, absolutely.
Which is, anyway.